Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Lines In podcast. Here to talk about everything Club Leon in English as we're coming off of an international break week, which they always seem really long. Because the last time that there was a game was here in Torreon where Louis was with me, so I felt like it was forever ago now. But we're back again talking about everything Club Leon in English and looking ahead of this upcoming jornada weekend. So lots to talk about. Anybody joining us via YouTube and X on Twitter, hello, welcome. Please let us know what your thoughts and comments are throughout the show. Feel free to express yourself, and we'll definitely share those on screen and keep the conversation going. So, yeah, gentlemen, how are we feeling today?
Well, not only does it feel like an eternally long international break, it feels like there have been way too many international breaks for the year following a World Cup. I mean, do we really need all these money grab Monero friendlies? I really don't think so. It just adds to the weirdness of the season where it feels like we've already played 10, 11 jornadas, but it just feels like we've barely played. It feels like we've barely seen our team. It feels like nothing has happened this season, and all these international breaks that we really don't need are just adding to that. So I'm kind of annoyed about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I just want the season to resume again. I feel like it's been forever, and I mean, luckily we'll have some guys I think returning from injury. We don't look like we're in a bad position. I was really getting slammed by Louis over the last few games because I wasn't very optimistic.
You were being unnecessarily pessimistic, Carlos. Just let's say it. Let's tell it like it is.
I was.
And looking at the standings, in such a forgiving league that we know we're in.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at the standings, I just looked at them. We're ninth. I mean, that's not too bad. If we can go on a little run and win the next 3 out of 4, I think we'll be all right. I mean, we won't be terrible.
We're ninth, and we're like 3 out of what? 5th? We're like 3 points out of 5th, and we have a game in hand. Yeah.
This league makes it way too easy to get in, but
that's not to say we've played great soccer, but this league is way too forgiving to ever give up hope on anything ever. And I mean, just look at the most recent champion. They mailed it in all season, got hot at the right time, and won the title. And we're a team that's built to do the same thing, I feel.
I hope. I mean, we got the pieces to win it. We have the pieces to go on a nice run. This is literally the exact same team, minus maybe 1 or 2 important guys that won the CCL just a few months ago. But yeah, I mean, scheduled. It doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too easy. It's like somewhere in the middle. It can go either way. But, it all depends on how we play. I mean, I'm more interested in seeing how we play and if we can kind of recover some of our form because we haven't really looked that great all season. It's been erratic.
For sure.
I mean, I feel going off of, I definitely saw the exchange between you guys on our group. And I feel Carlos, because I feel like I was on that same boat. Like, it was just very frustrating. Obviously, like Billy said, this league had just changed so quickly with, 1 or 2 results from teams here and there. But I feel like, yeah, it's just frustrating. But what I can say is that this last game before we went into international break, I think it was very fun. It was very fun to watch. First of all, it was very fun to watch my team live. But second of all, I mean, it was complete. It was complete rear possession, holding possession the whole time. It was just such a fun, refreshing side. With even all the injuries that have been stacking up against us all season, with some coming back, some getting injured and all that. But all in all, I think we do have a chance, like always. But yeah, I think it's just seeing how we close, and anything can happen in Liga when it comes to that.
Yeah, I'll push back a little bit on the fun part. It wasn't I mean, I was there. I was right there with you, Gotti. I was watching there with you. I don't know if I put that in, the top 50 of the most fun games I've seen out of the last 50 that I've seen or whatever.
It was fun in the fact that, like, we were dominating, period. We weren't, like, against, like, the wall. We're like, oh, my God, they're, like, going to beat us. Like, no, it
it wasn't the most fun for me. Again, it's not. I see our team play live all the time, so it wasn't like any kind of treat for me, just in that sense. Also, you know, it was drizzly and cheapy the whole time. It was cold. It was the conditions weren't the best for watching the game. However, if even if fun might not be the word I would choose to describe it, I think there was a lot of encouraging things about it. First and foremost, you'd have called Leon and Santos in kind of in a similar boat, a similar position in the table. Traditionally, historically, mid-table to a mid-table and above type teams were having kind of disappointing seasons. And so, you could expect that to go either way. And, Leon was clearly the better team. Yes, they were playing with up a man, but, historically that hasn't necessarily helped us. We go up a man and we don't dominate. This time we went up a man and we completely controlled the match, completely controlled everything. I feel like they held back. They could have scored more. We were talking to Tom about this afterward. He was like, I thank you very much to Leon. They just didn't seem to want to score because they obviously could have. They could have scored 5 or 6, and they just decided they didn't need to because they had things under control. It was just, if it wasn't fun, it was encouraging, and it was also just super chill. Because the result was never in doubt. The win was once we scored the second. Shout out to Paul Bellon for opening his account this season. Once we scored the second, the match was never in doubt. We were just sitting there, cool as cucumbers, just waiting for the final whistle because we knew that game was in hand. And it hasn't been that way watching Club Leon a lot recently, especially not this season. It hasn't been that way in quite some time watching this team. So Leon in a game that the pundits would have called a toss-up going in. Leon went in and took care of their business, and that was the most encouraging sign because we are clearly a team that is better than we've played, and this could be the start of going on a run, like you said, Carlos, like going on a run, finishing the season strong and being right there in the mix at the end, like we expected to be. It's just a shame that we had to go right into an international break after that, lose momentum. However, the point about getting players back from injury, because this has been a season plagued by injury, remarkably plagued by injury, even more than usual. So in that sense, having an extra week off and getting some players healthy is probably worth losing the momentum that we get from that win. But yeah, definitely an encouraging match. Maybe not. Again, you can think it was fun, Cody. I didn't think it was that fun, but it was definitely encouraging.
It was fun, Louis. Look, weather-wise,
it's always fun to win.
Well,
it's always fun to
okay,
win.
It's always fun to win. First of all, okay, let me define what it was fun to me. Fun to me because, look, we were there. It was cheapy weather, whatever. I'm used to being so hot that it was like I'd rather take this over the freaking 98 degree at 7 o'clock games, right? Whatever. Fun because I sit there every weekend, right? Whenever there's Santos games, and it was nice for me to be in a game where I'm like, that's my team, secretly in my own self, like that's my team, and they're beating Santos, right? And we won, and I guess my thing is they dominated, and there was no way that Santos was getting back into the game. Period.
Yeah.
That's what was fun for me in those sense, in those aspects for me, right? Could they scored more? Yes. I like that there was, the youngsters were subbing in, and I'm like, this is great. So it's just little things in there.
Well, they didn't have to expend a ton of energy to get a fairly easy result. And as hard as it's been, this was our first road win in league play since March.
That's what me and Lou were talking about. Yeah.
So for this to be such an easy win, for this to be such an easy, straightforward, just sit back and relax because we know. We're just chilling. We're having a grand old time because we know this game is won. There's nothing that Santos can do to come back in this one, even though we're only up by 2 goals. Traditionally the most dangerous lead in soccer, but it just didn't feel like that. We had this game in hand. We were going to win this game, and for that to be the case when we haven't won a road game since March, to go in and get such an easy one is certainly a privilege. Certainly a privilege.
And I think it came at a time where Santos had switched goalies. So no disrespect to Lahoud, because he hasn't had the best season. But if it was Lahoud in goal, I think we could have had a couple more goals in, just because he
What
hasn't
happened-
been.
Really?
What happened to that guy's career? Ever since he went to Santos, it was just kind of like he plummeted. I mean, again, I guess nobody expected for Acevedo to turn into what he did, but
Well,
like,
Acevedo's coming off an injury, so he should be back. So in the meantime, it was Lahoud, but obviously his season was just not looking great, that they had to throw in the Cantera goalie, that was his second game. So part of me was like, I hope he does well, because I think as a goalie and all, it's just such a tough position. But I do think I'm like, if this was Lahoud, lo hubiera nunca existe, but due to the season he was having, because he, Necaxa lo goleó, I was like, being how dominant we were, could this have ended on a bigger scoreboard on our side? But who knows? We'll never know.
He made some annoyingly good saves too.
Yeah.
Like, just based on that, it could have been 4 or 5-0.
Definitely. Shout out to Angel Delgado, said, been waiting for a new episode. Well, thanks for joining us, Angel. We're here. Feel free. Shout out to Sauce Boy. Injuries are also killing us. Yes. And like Louis had mentioned, because it is international, hopefully all is all good and everybody coming back. And yes, this was so frustrating, because obviously we're at the stadium. I'm talking about just Viñas. We don't have any reference. I'm like messaging like Carlos, like, what happened? Like, was it his shoulder? Like, he was barely there.
Yeah, it was just an awkward movement that he made with his shoulder. I think he was just trying to box out the defender, and he just happened to re-aggravate it. I mean,
well, he dislocated it, is what I read.
Yeah.
And but he's been training seemingly regularly, without issue. I don't know, not even por separado. Like, he's been training, so I mean, I think those kind of injuries, especially when it's an upper body injury and you're an outfield player, like, it's just kind of like a pain tolerance thing.
Yeah.
Like, how much pain can he tolerate? I mean, I don't think there's much danger of making it worse.
Well, it depends on, if he's getting bodied up or he's on the run and he gets knocked out, how you fall.
No, I mean, he's definitely gonna feel it, but it's like it's a pain threshold kind of thing. So I don't know. But I mean, from what I've seen, he seems to be training. I still would think he probably wouldn't play against Toluca, but or maybe he'd only come in as a sub, but we'll see.
Yeah. So praying for the Virgen Maravillas come back with a vengeance. Hopefully the rest of the team starts playing with the same passion he does. Hello.
Yeah. Well, the Ente finally opened his account. We got to see, we were sitting right there, right in front of it, got a clear view of the Ente's first goal as a member of the club. And as I said before, he seems like a guy that, the floodgates will open for him once that happens. So I hope I'm right. Hope he starts to be more productive on the score sheet from here on in, because he has all the tools. I mean, he's a different player out there. His skill set is different. So for it to be reflected on the score sheet, and a nice assist from Brian Rubio, who's been heavily criticized.
He came in, he did what he could. I mean, he's gonna have some games where I don't blame the guy. I mean, he came in and he gave an assist.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'd rather have Plátano playing there instead of Rubio. Like, if Viñas is really going to be out, I'd rather just have Plátano play that position.
Is Plátano fully healthy though?
He should
That's
be.
The thing. He
should be by now, right? I mean,
should be. He started and he played. Obviously,
he did, but he spent part of these 2 weeks entrenando por separado. That's why I say that. And he was coming off an injury prior to that. And,
he was. I mean, I thought he looked okay.
And I'm still waiting for Borja to make a difference. I still have high hopes for that dude.
Me too.
Like, when he's played, he's looked good. He just, for whatever reason, I don't know if he can't gain the coaching staff's confidence or if he's just adapting to different style of play. But I don't know. I still have high hopes for him making a difference this season.
I don't think Larcamón likes that guy. I don't think it's personal either, because I just don't think. I think the Grupo Pachuca just kind of dumped him with us because they didn't know what to do with him. They didn't want him at Oviedo. Pachuca didn't want him, and Larcamón didn't ask for him. They just kind of like, well, here's a club, another club. go ahead and join them. They need refuerzos.
Yeah.
I think he would, because I would watch a couple of Oviedo games and whatnot, and I think he was a player that was getting minutes. I mean, he was doing well. I think from what I read, obviously oh my god, I just lost it. The level, what is it called? Like he needed to adjust. I cannot remember the word. Esto se me fue la onda. O sea, para respirar y todo, to get used to, what is it called?
The altitude? What are you talking
altitude. The altitude. That's what it was. Sorry.
Wait, Leon isn't that high, is it?
Well, that's okay. So I read something that he was, he needed to get adapted to the city and whatnot, and then obviously he picked up an injury. But that's what I read. So I think he's.
To be fair, Oviedo is in the mountains. I've been there. It's a beautiful city, and it's high up in the it's high up in the mountains. So
wouldn't you be able to breathe better down here?
But it's an adjustment, right?
I mean, I think it's an adjustment in a lot of ways. You're coming from Spain to Latin America in general. I think is a big adjustment.
Because Spain is
the only thing it's not an adjustment. The only thing that's not an adjustment is the language barrier. But other than that, it's a
different ball game.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting altitude. Surface of Spain extremely varied and characterized by relatively high average altitude over 600 meters above sea level. And then if I put Guanajuato, it says 2,045 meters.
Okay, that's a substantial difference.
Carla's like, no, it's probably not that much. I'm like,
you wouldn't think of it, right?
You wouldn't think of it.
I mean, you wouldn't think that Denver was lower than Toluca either.
Yeah.
What's
right?
Denver now? I'm curious.
Denver is known to be way up there, and then Nacho Ambriz was like, "No, Toluca's a lot higher than Denver."
It is.
That press conference, remember, where he owned that amateur reporter?
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Well, it says in feet, but it says 5,280 feet above sea level is Denver.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly 1 mile.
Interesting. Yeah, just to wrap up what Arturo said, because me and Louis going to the last podcast, I had mentioned about Diente and how, we're glad that he was able to open his score sheet and kind of go on that. And I told Louis, I was like, look, if anything, Diente has, what I would be expecting from Diente is going into Liguilla to just come in clutch in those games, just like a Puma Gigliotti and so forth. And, obviously it's been just for some players, it's just you throw them in and, you throw, pegas un chicle y se pega como Iván, he se integró rápidamente and, we all love him and blah, blah, blah. And for other players, I think it might take a bit of time. So I'm glad to see Diente was able to get a goal. So that was good. Arturo also said, I truly believe all the injuries are part of the overload we've had throughout the season. Are we talking about Leagues Cup in that?
Yeah, probably.
I'm not going to use that as an excuse when the only thing I would say about that is, we had the long CCL run too, and we didn't have, we barely had any layoff between that and when everything started back up again. Very little bit. We had very little layoff. If it were just the league season and the Leagues Cup, every team in the league had to do that. So, I'm not going to use that as an excuse. If we want to go back and everything it took out of us to do the CCL run too, but we got a lot of new players that weren't involved in that too. So and some of the ones that are injured are players who weren't involved in that.
Well,
so I don't know.
Barre, Tessie are injured.
Yeah,
those are the guys I'm like mostly looking at, because if you think back to CCL, if you just calculate the number of miles that we traveled. Oh, yeah. Where did we play? We played Panama.
Oh, I traveled every single one of those miles, Carlos. I know exactly how many they were.
There you go. And then on top of that, you have to play. And then on top of that, you have to play and you have to compete. And then you have a regular season in like the next 2 weeks with Leagues Cup. Some of these guys are probably, they're probably really tired, and Yeah, I mean, it wears you down traveling that much and playing that much.
But Barre and Tecillo are thought to possibly be ready for Saturday, no?
That's what I saw.
That's what I saw. Yeah.
Although there was some chatter about, as well as Belon has played, maybe he shouldn't lose his starting job just porque sí,
Oh, I don't feel it should either.
Despite shout out to Tom, who didn't think he had a good game against Santos.
I thought he had a good game.
Well, then after that, he made match day of the week, and and everybody was, all the chatter about him was extremely positive. So I'm not questioning Tom. I trust his eye, when it comes to like what you're looking at when you're actually watching somebody play. I'm not going to question his judgment, but
I would when it comes to. I always do. I always do.
But I think Belon has looked good.
I agree. I thought he looked good.
Yeah.
So next couple of games, obviously after the León Toluca, we're making up the Jornada 11 León Atlas. So that's our kind of doble jornada. And then after that we have Cruz Azul. The good thing is that we have the next two games at home. And then we're away at Cruz Azul, home to Pumas, away at Puebla, and home to Juarez. So, I mean, just looking at these last couple games, what are we thinking? Like, just based off of, I don't know, it's hard. I think it's just fun to say, like, what are we thinking? How many points is it?
I don't know. All those games sound competitive except for Juarez, which is kind of weird because they had such a great start to the season.
Yeah, I told you though, Carlos, them and San Luis, they're falling off. They're falling off.
Well, San Luis is still up there. They're still in the top 4.
Pumas, Cruz Azul is over.
They haven't looked good in the last few matches. I mean, they're still up there because they had such a great start, but they've plummeted down, several spots from where they were over the last few weeks.
Not like Juarez though. Juarez just completely fell off.
Yeah.
Juarez has the same number of points as us, 15.
But
look at our season and you look at their season.
Give San Luis time. They'll by the end they'll be lucky to be still in the play-in positions.
I mean, mathematically, we could still make the play-in.
I mean, we are in the play-in spot right now.
Right now.
No, I mean, sorry, not play-in. Direct.
Right.
Top 4. I mean,
what I'm
we're only
saying
4
is San
points
Luis
away.
by the end will be lucky to still be in the play-in spots. Yeah.
See about that.
They just don't have the depth of the experience. I mean, and neither does Juarez.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Toluca. So how many times it's only been twice that we've played Toluca since Nacho Ambriz has been there. Am I wrong?
No,
I believe
you're right.
I thought it was more.
Both. When did
he came here once?
So we're coming.
We were there twice.
Yeah, No, I think we were only there. We were only there once. Well, and that was last season. And that was the 0-0 draw where we finished with 9 players.
We did finish with 9 players. That was towards the beginning, no?
And despite finishing with 9 players, we had the better chances to win the game.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that was a great game.
Oh my God!
And then
I
believe. And then
we had the last. We had that crazy 5. What is it? 5-4. What game? What scoreboard was that? Con Toluca.
4-4. Yeah, it was a game that we needed to win. It was the last match day of the season. We needed to win to make the repechaje. That was 3 seasons ago.
That was with Paiva, right?
So we must have played them 3 times, and I can't remember. Did we lose the other time? I think we must have lost the other time. So we've never beaten. I know we've never beaten Nacho Ambriz as manager of Toluca, and so this would be a great first time to do that.
Yeah, Toluca's also another one of those teams where you don't know if they're good or if they're bad. They don't want to make up their mind because they'll lose against Xolos, but then they'll beat a good team. They beat Monterrey. They beat they tied America. They tied Tigres. So I don't know. It's kind of weird with them. And knowing that they have some of our ex-players, it might be a little more difficult for us to beat them because some of those guys really want to beat us more than the guys that we have want to beat them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they have a bunch of our former players. We don't have a bunch of theirs.
Yeah.
That's not how this worked. Yeah, I'm just checking. Yeah, so this past season was a 0-0 draw. We finished with 9 players at La Bombonera. Not the real Bombonera, but they call it the Bombonera. Mm-hmm. And then the season before was a 1-0 loss at home to Toluca. And then the season before that was the 4-4 draw at home where we needed to win to get to repechaje, and Meneses missed it by inches on the last kick of the game to give us what would have been the 5-4 win and send us to the repechaje. Actually,
that was such a good and frustrating game at the same time.
Yeah, and that was actually his last play as a member of our squad before joining Toluca.
I miss Meneses. We need a Meneses.
As good as Elias has been in spurts, we haven't found a long-term solution at that position since he left.
I'm gonna say I don't miss him.
You don't miss him, Carlos?
No, I'm gonna say I don't miss him, and I'll tell you guys why. I think his era was done. Se cerró su ciclo, and you need to move on from certain players, and he was just one of those players that we moved on from. Like, we saw him blossom into what he became. He won a chip with us. ¿Qué nos debe? Like, ya no nos debe nada. So, like, it's okay. And Toluca came in, wallet open, dropped $8 million on him, and it's like, okay, it's cool. Like, you can go. I don't miss him. But I do think that those $8 million could have been invested a lot better to bring somebody to replace him at that position. Maybe not as good, but maybe somebody who can grow into that position. And we didn't find that. We didn't find it in Jairo. Elias, luckily for us, Elias has found a second fresh breath of fresh air.
But I feel like he's starting to run out of gas again.
He's starting to run out of it.
Those legs are starting to.
He's injured. He's going to be out for.
He can't play 90. He can't play a full season 90 minutes. I mean, he's just not that. He's just not that dude anymore.
Yeah, but I think that's the reason I really don't miss.
That's a good point.
Because I feel like you just got to move on from players sometimes.
I think that's a good point, and I do agree with you. Maybe I miss the idea of having a player like Meneses on that side, because I feel like that was what was working for us, and then we're lacking that type of player on that wing side. You know what I mean? Like, just seeing the game, I was telling Louis, I'm like, you have on this side, obviously Elias didn't travel, so he couldn't play in that position. Obviously Plátano did, not that he did a bad job, obviously he was out of that, but there was not much of a play on that side. And I would tell Louis, I was like, they need to try and push, all the play was going on the other side with Mena and Ivan, which, they have that nice partnership here and there. But I'm like, de este lado estaba muy solo porque no tiene la misma corrida. Obviously, Plata no tiene la misma corrida con Osby. I was telling Leo, I'm like, have Osby kind of pushed up a bit, because other than that, like, Diente is not going to be that. Diente kept going towards the center. Yeah. Plátano se movía un poco, pero no tenía alguien que le diera 1-2 and go on that wing. I was like, so we're missing that on that wing drastically.
That's our biggest weakness right there. That left wing.
Yeah. But a ver cómo nos va. So looking at just how we were talking about the table, how it stands. In first place is America with 27 points. Second place, Tigres with 22. Pumas in third with 21. San Luis in fourth with 19, followed by Toluca, who has 18. So obviously they're only a 3-point difference ahead of us right now at this point. Chivas also has 18 points in sixth. Xolos with 17. Monterrey con 17 in eighth. Obviously we're ninth with 15. And Juarez in 10th with 15th. So how is
Monterrey 8th with like their star-studded highest payroll?
Because they have 2 games in hand. I was
gonna say they have
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they have 7 games to play left. So they have to make up the.
Oh, that's right.
If they win, if they were to have played and won the 2 games they have in hand, they'd be in second place.
Yeah.
But even then, like, so they won against Juarez, drew against Puebla. They lost the Clásico Regio. It's a 3-0. They beat us. They won against Chivas. They lost against Toluca. That's to bring that up.
No way we lose against Cruz Azul, right?
We better not, because I'm gonna be really mad. I'm gonna be fuming if they do. That should not happen. I mean, they're out, right? We can count them out.
No.
I mean, mathematically, no. I mean, if they can go on a run and still get in, that's the LIGAMX.
Yeah, if they win 2 games, they're like mid-table.
Okay, but how many games do they have left? They only have 4. No, JK, they have 5.
No.
No, they do have 5.
They have 5.
Yeah, they have 5.
So they play Tigres, and they play us, then they play Juarez, and they play Chivas, and then Puebla.
I mean, they pretty much have to win. No, they have to win well, actually, it's different. When it was 12 teams, the cutoff was usually around 20 points to get in. But now it's only 10. So it's probably they got to get 22, maybe 22 or 23.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they need to win 4 out of their last 5 matches probably to get in. Or maybe they could maybe get in with 3 in a draw. It's not likely, but it's not impossible.
Game. Yeah. Anything's possible in LIGAMX. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, it's been an interesting season to say the least. Let's look at. Let me go forward. Matches.
What happened with Fidel Ambris? I'm hearing he's not going to be here for a few games.
Well, he's with the under 23s right now.
They still have games though? They're going to roll over?
I don't know. I
read that he left
on Twitter that I just forgot. That I just lost.
He left today for concentración with the U23s. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was Pablo Mascorro who posted it, and they were asking him. They interviewed him at the airport, asking him how he feels about missing a few games with the team.
Mm-hmm.
Can't find it now.
I guess we'll see how many he'll miss. Maybe. Well, he'll probably miss the next 2 because obviously they're a doble jornada for us.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I'm just looking at the jornada 13 game. So tomorrow will be Atlas Mazatlán, Juarez Pachuca, and Puebla Chivas, which should be interesting.
Let's go Puebla.
Interesting games on a Friday. It's funny. It's all the games on Friday. It's like a little circle between Mazatlán and Juarez and Puebla. You know what I mean? They always Cholos. It's always them playing on a Friday at least.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. Saturday, León Toluca, América Santos, Querétaro Xolos, and Tigres Cruz Azul. Then we have Sunday, Pumas Monterrey, and San Luis Necaxa. So we'll see what happens with that. Apart from Fidel, do we have any other news as for the club in general that we've seen?
Well, I hope that sick photo of that Dia de Muertos themed jersey is true, because I'm totally getting me one of those. I don't know. I hope it's real.
I've been seeing it on my feed, and I'm like, I don't know if that's real or not.
I mean, it makes sense. They usually, they come out with the they usually come out with at least one. They come out with the main 2, and then they come out with a special one. They had the Lucha Libre one back in 2022, as you'll recall, and then they had the Alebrijes one.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the Dia de Muertos one. That would make sense. And I mean, I have the Dia de Muertos New Era León hat that would go great with it. So I'm hoping I'm hoping they actually do come out with that.
Where was that leak though? Sorry.
Wasn't it León jerseys?
Yeah.
Was that dude that posted it? Somebody superimposed all the ads on and it looks. I don't. No.
Let me see.
I'll send it to you guys.
Okay.
Wait, I'll put it in the chat. So I have to connect. I'll send it on Whats.
Okay, on Whats.
Yeah.
Mandame Whats. I'm trying
as they would say down here.
Yeah. Let's look at the comments. Sauce Boy said, I hope to see more Sebastian Santos against Toluca. Me too. I really liked him when he came in. at the Santos game.
Wait, who?
Sebastián Santos.
He had a shot. He had a clear shot to score a goal, and he completely. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he slipped or he just completely missed it.
Yes,
perfect pass.
We know this is what it's gonna look like with all the sponsors.
It doesn't look that bad.
You think the Cementos guy looks great blocking the mouth on there?
Yeah.
But for
the best they can do is maybe the outline.
Both of the last two theme jerseys have been monochromatic. Cementos Fortaleza guy, both the Luchadores and the Tldp. So I would trust that this one would be too.
I hope so, because if not, if they want to put the concept of Dia de los Muertos, they have to They have to maximize the design versus, the sponsor can still be on there. Look, at this point, no one's complaining about the sponsors anymore. We already know it's the reality, but they need to kind of fit in with the look of the jersey.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and send it, but anyways, if you guys have not seen it, look it up on Twitter. Sasboy also said, I miss Davila as much as people don't like him.
I mean, the only reason we loved him as long as he was still playing here. The only reason we don't like him is because
I do like him. I just think
we're not big fans of the way he exited the club.
Yes, but I still like him because I feel like any player who is Club León alumni that left I guess he didn't leave por la Puerta Grande, but at least he gave us something to remember him by, which is the CCL,
Well, his only mistake was he made two mistakes. One was negotiating his exit once the season following the most important thing he'd ever done and will ever do for the club, rather than just doing it in the off season. Instead, he should have just done it in the off season instead of doing it 3 jornadas and 2 Leagues Cup games into the following season. That was one mistake, and the other mistake was asking to wear the number 10.
Which now that we're talking about it, have we seen anything on him? I'll look it up.
I mean, I follow him.
No,
you guys follow him on Instagram? He posts like his goals and stats and whatnot.
Do I still follow him, or did I unfollow him?
Yeah, he scored a couple of weeks ago. He scored for.
No, I don't think I unfollowed him.
Yeah, I didn't unfollow him either. I unfollowed a few other players though.
Yeah, I think I unfollowed Joel Campbell.
Campbell?
No, I still follow
Campbell. No, Campbell was cool. He was cool. Like I never.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah, I never had anything against him. I follow Aquino.
Okay, no, I still follow Davila.
Yeah.
And keep following, Louis. No te hace daño.
It's like, well, I want to be a little bit choosy about who I follow. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that easy.
Elias follows me.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
And Boselli does too, I think.
Yeah.
Boselli.
But
Chapo follows me on Twitter. I don't know if any of them follow me on Instagram, but yeah.
You're probably so used to seeing you like, we always see Louis in person. We don't need to follow him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Arturo Ruiz also said, when's Jimmy Lozano going to call up Ambriz to the national team? I'm tired. Well, I say let's keep him with the sub-23, let him do his thing, and then kind of slowly incorporate him into the first team. I think it's too early for that, to be honest.
Hopefully never.
Louis is just a hater, guys. If anybody knows, Louis on a national level will go for the U.S. So.
Yeah, and I do not want to see any of our players. I don't want to see any of our players get called up for anything, even the U.S. Like if there were that option, like we can't do to go get injured. To go get injured, no thanks.
Well, that should be.
What if we had Pulisic playing for Leon and you guys really needed him for an international friendly against?
For a
I
friendly,
would go boo at him.
Germany.
I would go boo at him.
For a friendly,
if he was with Leon?
Yes, I would go and boo at him. I cannot stand that man.
He's amazing
why?
on every level.
What did he do to you?
Everything, nothing.
Too many game-winning goals in Nations League finals. Yeah, I know how it is. I'm gonna go get my Pula. I have 2 Pulisic jerseys. I'm gonna go put one on right now.
You're gonna go get banned. You're gonna get banned. Okay. I'll have this whole chat. Hey, chat, you want to ban Louis if he ever wears a Pulisic shirt? He knows the dress code. No USA. Only Leon or whatever you're liking of stuff you wear. That's not anything controversial.
A team from any other league.
We have a problem. We have a problem because Santi is greater than Pulisic. Period. 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 Don't mess with my Santi.
Is he though?
Yes. Don't mess with Santi and me, okay? I'm in his corner. Sauce Boy says hopefully he's in by Copa America. I love watching our players for selección whenever there is one. But you know how those call-ups go. I say let's just keep him with the Sub-23, kind of let it do his thing, let him shine. And I mean, he's still young. So I think for me, he still has time to kind of develop more as a player and kind of make a case for himself in the first team.
The only reason I don't mind seeing them getting call-ups is because now, like, whereas Leon used to be the base de la selección, and now it's like it feels like playing here is kind of the doors are closed to you for getting those kind of call-ups, at least to the senior squad. And so it kind of disenchants players from wanting to play with our club because they don't think they're going to be able to get that call-up, and they think they have to go to America or Chivas or something like that to get a call-up. And so I'd like for our club to have the reputation of being a place where if you play well enough here, you will get the call-up that you deserve. That's the only reason. But I'm definitely afraid anytime any of our players goes to any of the selecciones, that's not just the Selección Mexicana. It could be Colombia when it's been Tecillo and I guess Barrero's never been called up. But like Tecillo with Colombia, Mina with Ecuador, Jairo with Colombia, Campbell with Costa Rica. Like anytime it's been one of those dudes, like I'm always afraid, especially because whenever those guys go play with their selecciones, they play all out. They go all out. They play, they just play with everything they have, and I'm just afraid they're going to get hurt.
And I think that's the thing that we've seen happen, like when these players come to Leon and like the foreign players and they get called up, it's like their first, like especially when they first come and they haven't been called up before and they get that first call up and after that they keep calling them, it's kind of like what Luis, I mean, they want to give it their all. They want to continue to do well and getting called up. Obviously they had called up Maravillas, but obviously due to the injury, ya no se pudo, but it's always a risk, and it's always like, I think as a fan of a of a club when it comes to international, I think we always do run that risk of stuff happening. Javi, who couldn't join us, said Ivan Mora should get a call-up Sunday. That is my hope. But yeah, Sauce Boy watching a couple of years, Sebastián Santos will be our generation Chepe Chavez. There goes Luis. Javi's history. Leon history lesson.
Chavez, ¿quién fue ese,
güey? Let's see. I think just looking ahead, we already did talk about a little bit about Toluca and kind of that history in the past matches with Nacho Ambriz and the players they have. Like we had mentioned what we saw, I think Barrero and Tecillo should be back. But if not, I think we could still go with a similar lineup as the past couple ones, just a variation, depending on who's available.
Adonis and Belon, right?
Yeah.
Adonis, Belon, Ivan Moreno, Osby. Fidel is not going to be here, so he's not starting. So we're back to, what is it, Jefecito and Romero?
Yeah, because Jefecito subbed in the past match con Santos.
Yeah.
So we could have that Jefecito Perro back, which obviously that was a great duo before Jefecito got injured. That would be great to see them back.
Mena, Platano, and let's go with Sebastián Santos, man. Let's give him another start on that left wing.
What do you guys think of Uribe and how he's been?
I mean, he hasn't been spectacular, but I think there's room for growth. Louis, you're muted.
Seems like he always does something when he comes in. I mean, he was the looked like he was going to be the favorite of Larcamón when he first got here, before Ivan Moreno took off. But I still have hopes for him. I think he's pretty good.
What's the latest on Avión? Is he available or is he still out? Or how long is he out? I know he had an injury, but I can't remember how long.
He wasn't even on the bench for Santos, right? For the game versus Santos?
I don't remember.
Entrenando al parejo, Omar Fernández y el Avión Ramírez, posted by Israel Romo like a week ago, October 11th.
So maybe he's still...
Yeah, so maybe he'll be back. We completely forgot about Omar Fernández.
He has been pretty forgettable this season.
Yeah, Like, honestly, I forget that he's with us. I think obviously because he's always been back and forth, but now it's kind of just been forgetful. Like, I do forget that we even have him as part of the squad.
Well, he's another player that Larcamón didn't even want. Aside from Borja, this was another player that wasn't supposed to be on the team. There were rumors or I don't know if there were rumors or not, but I mean, he even confirmed many times that he didn't know if he was going to stay on the team or not. And it just so happens that a roster spot was kept open or unfilled, and they chose him to fill it.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were looking for a team, and I guess they weren't able to find one at a suitable time. So
yeah,
I guess we'll see what that looks like postseason, which obviously depends when that is with Leon. Because I think if Leon makes it to the final would be changed to the end of December because
Correct.
of the Club de Mundial de Clubes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Louis, you are going.
It's not confirmed yet, but I'm planning on it. I haven't decided whether the current situation in the Middle East is going to change my plans about that at all. I think by then it shouldn't be an issue, but I don't know. It's just I'm a little warier about it now than I was a few weeks ago.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, guys. Well, do you guys want to go to prediction time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Anybody in the chat, give us your predictions for Leon versus Toluca on Saturday. Let's go to prediction time. Lou, we need an updated prediction time.
I know, it's just been a lot of stuff going on. It's been hard. It's been hard to get it.
When Javier's in town, you should do one with Javier.
Yeah.
I heard Javier raps now. He's a rapper, so maybe he can drop some bars.
Maybe he can. Yeah,
that would be good. Yeah, do a collab.
We'll do a collab.
That'd be fun. Okay, let's go on to prediction time.
Prediction time.
on the chat, Arturo said, "I'll bust out my trumpet." Louis Armstrong vibes. Prediction time. Hey, he said he's down, so you guys need to get together soon and do a collab video. We'll do a whole premiere and everything for it on the pod. Okay, let's do it. Louis, your prediction.
Yeah. Okay. This is a tricky one because it's hard to know exactly what players are going to be available, what the lineup's going to look like. How much of the good vibes from the match at Santos will carry over. Mm-hmm. Toluca's obviously a tougher opponent, but we are playing at home. Should have some dudes healthy that weren't before. I think we pull this one out. I think we get our first. It's going to be close. It's not going to be a runaway or anything like that. But we will get our first win against the Nacho Ambriz-led Toluca, and we will continue climbing places in the table. It'll be a 2-1. Goals by Goals by Diente will continue his scoring streak, and let's give one to Plátano. I think Plátano will get one. Diente and Plátano will get one, and then the one for Toluca will come on a penalty by Volpi.
Okay.
Volpi's gonna score on Cota.
Volpi's gonna score. Of course he does. He always does. Javi said 4-2 Toluca. Leon 4, Toluca 2. He predicts
Wow.
a scoring game. Okay. Carlos.
That'd be fun. That would be a fun one.
That would be a fun one. Be a bit stressful, but
yeah, I don't think. You know what's? I think this is going to be a good match. You know, I think Toluca they don't like to bunker up. That's not Nacho Ambros's style, and we saw that for like 2 years with Leon. They really like to push forward, like to score goals, like to maintain possession. I think it's going to be an open match. I'm going to go just to be different. Let's go 3-2 Leon.
Oh, I was going to say that. Carlos says 3-2.
Do something different. Come on, you always come up with those like 3 Leon.
I saw Sauce Boy and I'm like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna do 3-2. Sauce Boy says 3-1 Leon. Arturo Ruiz said 2-0 Leon. Leaving Toluca scoreless, eh? We got Belon back there. I'm gonna go with the 2-2 draw. Let's do 2-2 draw.
2-2. Wow.
Let's do a 2-2. Obviously, look, like we know in the pod, every time someone predicts a draw or a loss, obviously we hope that we win. But I think because both teams will try and get a good marcador in their favor. I think obviously Leon does need that so they can keep going, especially in the doble jornada, as Leon's doble jornadas have not always been the best in history times. So I think this win would be good, leading them into next Tuesday's game. So if we win, great.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure to when you have both double jornada games at home. The first two. Yeah.
And then your
a lot of pressure to get
attendance,
points out of those.
Yeah. I'm like, if people go on Saturday, if they lose, you're like, oh, why am I gonna go on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see. Well, those are our predictions, guys. So we'll see what happens. Don't forget, LIGAMX starts tomorrow with 3 Viernes Botanero games. And then obviously our game will be on Saturday. And then we have 2 more on Sunday. So lots of LIGAMX action as well as during the week, as Leon does have a doble jornada. So if any of you guys are missing the game for any reason, if you're working, if you're stuck in traffic, you got your phone on you, don't forget to follow Club Leon EN. Keep you updated with all the Leon updates to the games, any replays, anything keep you going. Make sure to follow there. So yeah, guys, I think we're good. Anything else?
I think that about covers it.
Okay. Well, you know what we need? More hot takes. We haven't had a hot take.
We haven't had a hot take in a while.
Yeah,
Carlos is the best hot take.
Yeah, I'll be coming up with some good hot takes.
That's your homework. Next time we need a Carlos hot take. Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
I think maybe you'll get one after the doble jornada. After 2 games.
Yeah.
You'll see something there. And then,
if we get 6 points out of those 2 games, I mean, we're going to be. I mean, the tenor of our conversation is going to be quite different, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arturo Ruiz followed Club Leon EN for dope GIFs. GIFs? What am I saying?
GIF.
I said GIF.
I see?
It's GIF.
I said GIF.
The G stands for general, so it's GIF.
No, the G stands for graphic. Oh, graphic? Yeah, graphic, right?
I was like, Carlos is the one supposed to know. Yeah.
I think it's graphic.
I always never know how to which one is the right
interchange format.
So it's GIF.
Come on, Louis, you got to switch it
but
up.
I mean, I think this was a debate that was.
GIF reminds me of the peanut butter.
The peanut butter, yeah. That's true. So I see Sauce Boy has a hot take, but I don't know if y'all want to do hot takes now or just save it for next one.
We can squeeze one in. It's fine.
Let's squeeze one in and then we'll get out of here.
Okay, Sauce Boy, let's go with the hot take clip. Sauce Boy's hot take is Diente hasn't been that good at all besides.
I disagree with that.
I agree with it. That's a good hot take.
I mean, he hasn't been as good as expected. I mean, he hasn't been worked in, and I feel like he hasn't been given a chance to work himself in enough. But in that Querétaro match, when he subbed on, it was just different. He was by far the best player on the field.
Carlos?
No sé. I mean, the thing that makes me like skeptical, and I don't know, the thing that just kind of threw me off about this guy was the fact that he was benched 2 games in a row for stomach issues. Like, you would think after one week you'd be good. Like, okay, no more stomach issues, I'm good to go. But 2 games and both games were stomach issues.
I don't know, Carlos. It depends on what he ate.
And that's your star signing? Yeah, those tacos in Guanajuato.
Those tacos sometimes no
Those guacamayas, huh? I don't know. I think he hasn't been like, I think he has it on cruise control right now. We haven't seen his best version yet.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't think he was super thrilled about the move here to begin with. But I think he's growing into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I agree to a certain extent, which is what I had already mentioned this pod and mentioned with Lily, is that I'm waiting for because obviously in Tigres, we know how Tigres are and the type of momentum that they have during Liguilla games. So I have a higher expectation for him in those more playoff games, that he's a player that has come in clutch. Okay, he needs to come in clutch for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's great that he got a goal, and if that's giving him if that's going to give him the confidence for the rest of the season, then great. But yeah, I think I'm in between for sure.
Well, he's here for how many years? Did he sign for like 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, but those contracts can always be sold off.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's a good hot take, Sauce Boy.
I would prefer him to be very productive, and that we wouldn't want that to happen. But
yep,
it's always a possibility.
True. Okay, sounds good. Well, there's a hot take before we left, and we'll make sure to keep them hot takes coming. So next time, guys, if on the chat, if anybody has a hot take, just let me know, and we'll definitely have the hot take ready to go. So, okay, guys. Well, this is all for today's podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow Club EN, and don't forget to follow us on all socials. And we'll see you guys next time on another episode of the Lions Den Podcast.